So this is my casual shooter game with lots of particles and effects.
And today we're gonna be making new levels because the previous ones were kinda shit.
But thankfully, making levels is super simple for a pro developer like me.
This starts right where my last video went off, with a cool new third-person camera, which makes the game look sick. So yeah, this means the game is fine and better, and all we need to do is to get rid of this square on the floor and make it a new level. Wrong! You see, I successfully deceived your human eyes into seeing that it was all working perfectly in the last video. However, if we simply use the new advanced intelligent editing AI advanced to enhance the image, we can clearly see that reality is often disappointing. The gun clearly isn't shooting at the center of the screen, which could go unnoticed in most cases, but other times it's just horrible. The bullet doesn't shoot anything, so this is clearly a big problem that we have to fix before we make a level. Now to fix this, you gotta understand that in FPS games, bullets are actually fired from the player's eyes, which is the camera, so that it travels directly to the center of the screen, and then a fake bullet is moved from the gun to the point of impact, which will appear to move to the center of the screen. Of course, I knew this when I started, and so as a big brain game developer myself, I implemented this by placing a long raycast node in the player's head, which is where the camera is. So bullets will be fired to the point of collision of the raycast, which will always be the center of the screen, and this worked perfectly well for the FPS version. But now that I moved the camera and it's no longer in first person, so the center of the screen is no longer the player's head where the raycast is, and so now the raycast is no longer pointing to the center of the screen. You see the problem? So to fix this, we're just gonna scrap the raycast node entirely, because everyone knows that level 100 pro developers only do everything in code. Wow, look at that sick line of code that solves all my problems. Wow, so cool. So that was an easy fix that definitely didn't take me half the entire day to figure out, because I'm a pro developer, super pro. So without further ado, let's go build some levels. Open up Blender and let's jump right into it. Speaking of jumping, this is how the player jumps in the game, which is kind of weird, right? I mean, you'd agree with me that this is a bigger problem than making a level. For some reason, this just isn't a good enough jump. I don't know, it feels a lot less impactful, kind of like it needs more juice, which simply refers to things like particles, screen shake, particles, and yeah, more particles. So we're making particles. I feel like this game is at least 90% particles at this point. So yeah, here are the particles, and I don't know, it kind of looks more like it's flying, because that's exactly what this is. The player has a jetpack in his head. I decided that instead of jumping, when the player falls off a lead, you can just fly back up with a limited amount of juice. I decided to take it a step further and completely scrap jumping from the game entirely, because jumping was only ever used to avoid enemies and jump back onto the game. So the jumping back onto the game part is done. Well, what about the avoiding enemies part? Of course, everybody knows that the cool way to avoid enemies is not jumping, but dashing. So I tried to implement dashing and accidentally made the player supersonic. Yeah, which looks like a bug, but it turned out to be a lot cooler than what I was originally going with. So yeah, I just kept that in the game. Dashing means you turn into Sonic now, which is cool. So that leaves nothing more to be done about jumping, until we can finally get back to making some really cool levels. But, and yes, there is another thing. Now that the player can easily dash everywhere, this makes the game 1000% easier, because now the player can just avoid bullets super easily. So this boss character that was previously a special grade threat is now the weakest thing you can think of, because these bullets don't even get close. So I made the bullets actually move towards the player, kind of like a homing missile. And of course, I did this very easily on first try, and totally did not run into any problem. So yeah, that adds an extra layer of difficulty, and yeah, okay, done, we're done with that. So we're making levels. When making levels, no matter what type of level you're making, it all starts the same, with an empty scene, and mostly a cube. Nope, not that cube, this cube, right here in Godot. Because I don't know how to do Blender very well, and I just like making everything with CSGs now, so yeah. Now we just make the rest of the scene. It shouldn't take too long. It's been about an hour, and this is the crap I've come up with. It's supposed to be like part of a city that the circles are attacking. But then I ended up scrapping the idea mainly because I realized I have absolutely no idea how to make anything like that. But also because it'll probably nuke what's left of the game's performance to oblivion with so many objects in the background. I mean, I'd have to make a lot of buildings because it's a city, and so there's no empty space that is just pointing to the void. And yeah, I don't think my computer would like that very much. So performance is a thing. So we're scrapping that and we're making a new level. New level idea. Sphere. No, it's not in Blender, it's in Godot. So the enemies in this game are all spheres. So I thought it'd be cool if I made their base like a giant sphere. And there's this entrance here to the sphere, which is where the first level actually takes place. And maybe at the end of the level you are able to find a way into the sphere. I'm not too sure how that's gonna play out. For now, the gameplay is just that a bunch of enemies spawn in their little sphere caves, and they kind of try to kill you. Nothing else though. So yeah, that's the entire level. For now, but for now, I just wanted it to be simple and small. So this works. There's this orange cube I put down here, which is supposed to be lava, and so that's also really cool. It doesn't seem to be doing too much to the frame rate for now, so that's fine. You could also sometimes get yourself trapped in one of these round things, and then all the enemies around are just gonna enter there and annihilate the player, which I thought was really fun. I'm really happy about how the level has turned out so far, and everything seems to be working and nothing's broken. So it turns out something was broken. The navigation system. It's messed up completely and I didn't even notice. So for some reason the enemies just have these like spots. They just like to stay there and chill and just don't chase the player around, which is wrong and it shouldn't be happening, and I have no idea why. So yeah, this is kind of a big problem, and it'll probably take a while. Never mind, I fixed it in 1 minute. I mean, it was really amazing when I fixed that, because now it meant the level was actually fine and I could go work on other stuff, like for example, melee attacks. Of course, there are no melee weapons in the game. The idea is that you're just gonna swing your gun and you're gonna smack some enemies, give them a little smack, and they're just gonna fly backwards. The point of this is to help with crowd control and prevent enemies from suddenly appearing from all sides and just jumping the player, which actually happens more often than you think. So yeah, that works. You probably also noticed the new reticle images. Previously it was just this glowing square, but now we have multiple ones for different types of guns. And to be honest, I actually kind of prefer the square, but I don't know, what do you guys think? And while I was busy drawing things in Inkscape, I decided to go make the icons for the new guns we made in the last video. So here's a time lapse of me just mixing squares around and just playing around in Inkscape. And with that done, I went back to the level and began adding some details. Starting with the open space, I decided to add some buildings in the background. That's if you can even call these buildings. I just wanted things that were like in the lava. And of course, you're probably thinking this is kind of like the exact reason I didn't want to make the last level, because I didn't want to have to fill up the empty space with things that would also fry my CPU. But luckily I used the multi-mesh instance node, which does multi-mesh instances. It creates multiple instances of the same mesh, and that's supposed to be a lot more performant than manually placing them. So really cool. Then I also modified the enemy base using a multi-mesh instance to add a lot of shiny cubes over it, so it looks a bit more detailed. So yeah, this is the level. I still think there's more I could add to it, but I probably should stop for now, because I can already see things not looking too good for my CPU. Okay, so I might have added a bit more stuff. There's also this weird looking ship thing that I thought would be a cool place for the player to come out from when the level starts. Still working on the design of that thing though. The game is definitely a lot more scuffed right now. The performance is bad. The level I think looks great. For now, first level complete. I'm probably gonna have to work on optimizing the game to fit the level and all that stuff. Also, thanks a lot guys for the massive support on the last video. Yeah, there were also a ton of really cool comments, and most of the comments were telling me to quit using too many effects. The pause person is too much and there are too many particles, and like, yeah, the game definitely has too much glow. But I probably will fix all of them in the next videos, and I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe so you wouldn't miss the next one. So thanks for watching. Smash subscribe. Here's another video you could watch. Smash subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, do like the video. Also smash subscribe. And yeah, You guys rock. Also, a quick update on our road to 1 million subscribers before the year runs out. At the point of recording this, we have only 999,000. Crap, I don't know how to do math. 999,509 subscribers more to go to get to 1 million. So yeah, let's keep it going. We're a lot closer to that 1 mil before the year runs out. And thanks for watching. Yeah, catch you in the next one.